And welcome back to the Precursor. Charlie Kirk, the founder of the conservative youth activist organization Turning Point USA, has died after he was shot during an event at Utah Valley University today. Trump went on to say the great and even legendary Charlie Kirk is dead, he said on social media. No one understood or had the heart of the youth of the United States of America better than Charlie. He was loved by all, especially me, and now he is no longer with us. Melania and my sympathies go out to his beautiful wife, Erica, and family. Charlie, we love you. A single shot was fired on the Orium campus towards Kirk, a visiting speaker, shortly after noon today. He was hit and taken from the location by his security, the university said. A suspect in the shooting remains at large, according to the Orium police, which said they are supporting Utah Valley University in the investigation. The university has previously said a suspect was in custody. Kirk, who was 31, was taken to a hospital after being shot, according to Turning Point USA, saying in an earlier statement, "We are praying for him at this time." The father of two young children was a Trump confidant who was at the forefront of the conservative youth movement. Known as the Trump Whisperer, Kirk was deeply involved in vetting top positions for the administration following the election and was in the constant communication with top advisors at the president and the president himself. It's horrific. It's one of those horrible things I've ever seen, Trump told ABC News chief Washington correspondent Jonathan Karl. He was a great guy. He was a good man. He was an incredible guy. Nobody like him. FBI and ATF agents are on the scene, according to Attorney General Pam Bondi. FBI Director Kash Patel said the agency stands in full support of the ongoing response and investigation. There was a discussion about shootings when the single shot was fired. Utah Valley student Luke Pittman, who witnesses the shooting, told Salt Lake City ABC affiliate KTVX that he heard a big bang. "We thought it was confetti. Then everyone started ducking down," he told the station. "And then I took a look over at Charlie Kirk, and I see blood coming from his neck." Utah Senator Mike Lee said he is tracking the situation at Utah Valley University closely. "Please join in praying for Charlie Kirk and the students gathered there," he said on social media earlier today. Um, so, first of all, thoughts and prayers to Charlie Kirk's family, his wife, his two young children, and his admirers who followed his work. I personally never heard of Charlie Kirk. Maybe I saw him in the news a couple of times, but never really made a connection. But I'm sorry that this had happened. Regardless of your political stance, you don't want to see violence like this because this could be anybody. I'm sorry it happened to Mr. Kirk, and I'm sorry that it happened to the fact that you have someone now who's a widow. You have two young boys now who don't have a father. And so, again, as the story said, that the shooter is still at large. We don't know if it was politically motivated or not, but still, it shows you the violent temperature in our nation. I'm not blaming Trump. I'm not even getting to all that. What I'm saying is there are sometimes people who fan the flames. And you have to be careful when you do things like that, regardless of your position, regardless of who you are. Let's go to the comment section. Yeah, Barbara Jean, yeah, thank you. You had little tech issues there. Hey, Doc Sanders, Katrina Sanders, how you doing? How's everything? Good for you to be here. How you doing? Let's see here. How you doing, Omar? Says, hello, Chris. This is a very sad event in our lives. My prayers belong to Mr. Kirk, his family, and friends who knew him. Yeah, I feel the same way. It doesn't bode well for anybody who is a public speaker. When you think about the security that goes into it, because it costs for security, it costs a lot of money. And so, as I was watching the news, the event there on the university campus was free. I don't know how much the place was vetted, meaning the university itself, or where he spoke at, meaning Charlie Kirk. Ironically, when he was taking Q&A, he was talking about gun violence when he got shot. The irony of all that, and reports that he got shot in the neck, and unfortunately no longer with us. So it really is sad. And again, no matter what party you belong to, or maybe you don't, it's just sad when you see these things happen in any country. Go back to the comment section. Good afternoon, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to one Sick Diggy. How you doing, Sick? Let's see. Sick ask, how have you been? Based, I've been good. Today's been pretty funky because of the assassination of conservative pundit Charlie Kirk, who was 31 years old, once again leaves behind a wife and children. I never heard of him. I never heard of him before, but obviously he was a part of the Trump administration, having Trump's ear literally, and I would guess, watching the news and reports about how much he was the face of the conservative youth movement in this country. Thus, while he was speaking there at Utah State Valley University, I don't. You shouldn't condone violence, no matter what side of the aisle you are and what you belong at. But yeah, Utah Valley University. Yeah, my bad. It makes you. It just makes you wonder again, because I said before, if you are a public speaker that deals in politics, you may have to really question your security. And you probably need to get security. I'm not saying go run and hide. What I'm saying is to protect other speakers. You should be able to speak freely without this. I'm looking on social media, and some people I know who are conservative minded were saying uh, praying for Charlie Cook before we got the news about him passing away, and then we got the news about him passing away. There's someone that put on this person I know on their thread. Okay, he's dead, and it's just terrible, man. It's terrible. What's horrific is the fact that you have people who just have no empathy whatsoever. None. None. Let's see. Back to the peanut gallery. Hey, Lisa, how you doing? Lisa London, good afternoon, Base Nation. How you doing, Lisa? Thank you for being here. How's everything in your world? Thank you for being here as always. Let's see as we continue on here. I do recall when a gunman targeted a group of Republican congressmen while they were practicing for an annual baseball right between two parties during the Trump's first term. I remember that too. Yes, yes, I recall that story as well. You can't solve what's going on in politics or in life with guns. We know that, but unfortunately, not everybody subscribes to that type of philosophy. Okay, so Everybody from us saying hello to each other in the comment section now. Um, Usually, Trump does not have any type of wherewithal to even have a heart. I'm the fact that he says something that seemed human surprised me, but because it was someone that he had admired, someone that once again had his ear, someone that helped to bring forth the conservative youth movement. So there you go. Let's see. Right, 68 annual congressional baseball game. Right. Well, this is a treat. This is my daughter. This is my oldest daughter, Brianni, who was trying to call me during the show, and now she's a part of the show. Hey, how you doing? I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year, so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our God-given rights. Charlie Kirk, 2023 irony and karma show up in an odd way sometimes. True, true. No, it does. I mean, and you can throw in the whole thing about chickens coming home to roost if you want to, a la Malcolm X when JFK was assassinated back in the '60s. Just in general, I would not go there from the Malcolm X perspective. It's just that I do believe in karma. I do believe not careful will bite you in the ass tenfold. It's just that the one thing I do not want to see is death. But when you have escalation, unfortunately, and let's go back to political temperature in our country. Someone like Trump. Now, I'm not blaming Trump, but follow me on this. Stay with me. Someone like Trump, who is supposed to represent all of us in this country, which he does not, when you constantly go after people, when you constantly cuss and swear, when you constantly call people out of their name, when you constantly fan the flames of violence, saying things like we're going to have the federal troops come to certain cities and things like that, knowing there's going to be violence, knowing going to bring ICE in there as well, and it can lead into violence. What do you expect? They won't come back to haunt you. They won't come back to haunt people that serve you. I'm sorry that Kirk is gone. I'm sorry that Mr. Kirk is gone. Again, leaving a family and friends, and obviously, you know, great admirers that follow him on social media. But he was a firebrand. He didn't deserve it. Don't get me wrong. He's one of the conservatives that would like to fight the opposing side, not with, of course, not with fist minded, just with, with words and verbal conversation. And so when you look at the breakdown of that, you really have to be careful because not everybody's going to agree with you. There are certain people out there that look at you and say, you know what, we have to silence that person. I kid you not. Time has showed us over and over again what happens when you speak from the standpoint of a platform that is huge, that is loud, that some people just don't like. To be taken out, of course not, but to the point of when you're looking at how people view you, there is pure evil in this world. And I just say that's what we're dealing with. Let's see. Oh, damn, Brad, you got a book here. Okay, hold on. Let me try to read this. Let's see. Eye for an eye. You don't get to push for death while while people are begging you to do something because kids are getting their heads blown off, amongst other things. You don't get to be racist. You don't get to wait. Hold on a second. Yeah, my nephew Caleb. So let's see, where was I at? So you don't get to push the legislation of child and pregnancy and laugh at other deaths, and you think you won't someday. Let's say, well, yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. That's what I'm calling for. LOL. Okay, thank you. It's weird that my children get on board with this, so it's a nice treat. So thank you, Brian, for coming on board with your commentary and comments. Once again, like yes, I do believe in eye for an eye, but at the same time, it's karma. Like I said before, it's nature. You cannot expect, and this is what happens with same with bullies. You can't expect to put all this out here in the universe. You can't expect to put all this out here in life and not expect you to come back and do something to you. It's a elitist attitude. It really is, and it's just flat out wrong. You know me, I hate bullies on all levels. I hate them. They should go back to hell. And when you confront a bully, no matter who they are, they'll be the first ones bitching and moaning and screaming, and they put hands on you, but you don't put hands on them. It's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. Really, it does not. How you doing, Lorenzo? My thoughts. The amazing part of a lot of negative comments come from ass sitters. Yes, I agree with that. Uh, they take to forums with all types of misguided opinions and never achieve a mediocre what was it of success of the people that they try to drop try to drag through the mud. If your opinion is in your sound basis and not nasty vitriolic rants, I accept that as was that as your opinion. But shallow nastiness make you look small, obtuse, full of mediocrity. Yeah, I agree with that. Yep. Other than that, you're smart and astute. No, Lorenzo Clemens. Thank you, Lorenzo. Yeah, that's a lot. Thank you. It's easy to use your phone or to use your computer or your laptop and just go into forums and type and be a cyberbully or just be a parrot because you repeat something you saw on Fox News or CNN or whatever as not your point of view at all. And you just do it just to get attention. And like I said before, we all do this to get some form of attention. I got that, but it just gets curiouser and curiouser when that happens. Firebrands, regardless of political views, are known for speaking divisively without being held accountable. Unfortunately, certain people are excited slash provoked to do something. Sick types. Yeah, it's bothersome because then you sit back and say, "Damn, who's next?" I hate to go there. I hate to go. First of all, you know what happens? You have copycats. And again, we're not privy to when they get the shooter, what the shooter's objective was. We don't know yet. But still, it's the fact that the temperature and climate provokes these things to happen. History dictates the same thing. They hide their profile. I let my words, image, and truth speak for me. Right, Lorenzo. Right, you do, and but other people don't because they're cowards. The classic don't have a pot to piss in, window to throw it out of. They do not. And once again, they hide behind all of that because they're punks. And they know they're punks too. That's why they don't go outside. That's why they they hide behind their profile, like Lorenzo said. They hide behind their computer and their keypads and their everything because it's safe. Because they can say things and not have any type of accountability for it whatsoever. None. And that's the thing about it when you're dealing with these type of people who are out there doing the most, saying the most, you should be able to again say what you want to say without being hurt. You have to be careful. Utah Governor Spencer Cox said he is being briefed following the violence directed at Charlie Cook during a conservative political activist visit to the campus. Those responsible will be held fully accountable. Violence has no place in our public life. Americans of every political persuasion must unite and this condemning this act, he said on X. The university was the first stop this fall of the Turning Point USA's American Comeback Tour, which is traveling to multiple college campuses around the country. An event featuring Kirk at Utah Valley University on Wednesday today was expected to include a Prove Me Wrong table, according to the tour's website. Ahead of Kirk's visit, Utah Valley University, some students started an online petition asking the university administrators to stop him from coming. The tour has planned stops for Utah, Colorado, Minneapolis, Virginia, and elsewhere, according to its website. And keeps going on and on. Me personally, I wouldn't sign a petition for him not to come. If I was there, yeah, please come. I don't want to silence people. That made me a hypocrite. That would say that what I say is law, and I don't want to hear anybody else's point of view. I'll have to agree with the point of view, but you have the right to speak it. So when we have these situations where Charlie Kirk has now been assassinated, once again, you have to ask yourself if you are a public person or want to go out and speak, how do you feel about this? What would you do for your future reference of speaking in public? My mother said what was that? They throw rocks and hide and hide their hands. They throw rocks and hide their hands. Mom would say, "Oh no, show me your hands." Oh yes, yes, sure. You're wise. Your mother is very wise. Yes, I like that. Yeah, show me your hands. But that's what punks do. And I'm not saying that Charlie Kirk was a punk. I'm saying people who latch on to an ideal or a train of thought, or even dare I say, having somebody think for them. If you don't take the time to read something and not let somebody just dictate your train of thought, that right there is dangerous. It really is. Kirk's murder makes him a martyr for the right. Now, pundits will either scale back or double down, although the latter would often be false bravado. Well, you hate to go there about using somebody as a martyr, but the right will do that. The party of Trump will do that. And somehow, if not always, I don't watch Fox News. Every now and again, I'll watch what the enemy is doing. But I'm sure there's somebody on conservative radio or conservative TV that's already probably blamed the shooter as a liberal, unless you have fact. then you shouldn't say things like that. But they'll say it anyway because it's Fox or Newsmax or OAN and other conservative outlets like that who, no matter what the situation is, will still blame liberals. See, now you get into really dangerous territory. If someone, and once again, I don't know, I'm just speculating because I used to work in conservative radio. If one of those pundits, say on Fox News, went on and said that the person who shot Charlie Cook was a liberal, hide your kids, hide your wife, damn it, hide yourself. And that's what I mean by stoking and flaming the racist fires. That's what I mean. For example, I hope not, because it's not true. We talk about Fox here, Fox News, who also deals with lies because the president lies. Yeah. How you doing, Jed? Some of the comments on Fox have made me nervous for the political climate. Kirk has an excuse to go, what was that, 1994 martial law, scary times as Poland gets attacked by Putin. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see. No, it is scary times. Let's see. Me increasing the talk about my pride in my blackness is equal to my pride as a veteran and as an American. Make no mistake, if you are offending, let's see, if you are offended by my blackness, be offended about my service to this country and my citizenship. Because as I always say, went to bed as a black man, dreamed in Technicolor, woke up black with my blackness undefeated. Good stuff, Lorenzo. Good stuff. Thank you for sharing. I wish you call in. I know you're a very busy man. You probably doing some meetings or something like that. But yeah, you should call in, man. All this stuff is good stuff to hear your voice say it. Not me just reading it. I'm honored. But yeah, man, you had time, call in. 312 597 2106 if you can. And that goes for everybody else as well. Trust and believe that both sides will make political hay out of this situation in the coming days. Yeah, yep, sad but true. Because they need fodder, they need content, if you will. Or is it, oh, sorry, okay, 19, that's what I thought you were talking about. Yeah, Jed, 1984, George Orwell, the book or movie we all need to rewatch. Oh yeah, we get reconnected with that. I'll G for that. I'll go for that. Absolutely. So you would like for this to be a rest in peace moment, but I don't think it will be because, again, the political climate that we're in right now, Charlie Kirk, I just think it's beyond sick. It really is. I'm telling you, this man with the words, and you know, you ask, you shall receive. What's up, Lorenzo? How you doing, brother? Oh, let me get you on here real quick. Okay, say that again.
I said, how you doing, bro? Base.
Man, good to hear your voice, man. How's everything?
I appreciate it. Things are good, man. You know, just moving along. Excuse me. Not swimming, not backstroking, and never learning that stroke while swimming. You know, all the other strokes. That's the only stroke that you go backwards. All the other strokes you go forward.
Thank you. You're right. You got that right. Yeah.
The freestyle. You're swimming forward. The butterfly is swimming forward. You know, the breaststroke is you're swimming forward. So I don't do backstrokes.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
No, you know, it's interesting that the conversation to this whole concept of how we heal a nation and heal ourselves. We have to speak truth to conversation.
Yes.
I tell people all the time, I have this comment that I make: white people think white. White men think white. And I say this to white or black people, and it's really interesting because I have some of my white friends say, "Well, don't black people think black?" And I said, "No, we don't. We have to think white to survive because you're not comfortable when we go real black." Which is not a negative against white people, but it's just an increase in our DNA and our faith in who we are as people.
Right.
You know, I tell people I was very honored in a lot of the things that I've done in life where I was the first black. And I take honor in that. But I never take honor in the fact that I'm the only. So it was always my choice to look for my replacement in some additions. And people say, well, why would you do that? I said, because if I find my replacement and some additions, I'm looking at
you up, color you up, because obviously you are void of understanding what it's like. You know, going and doing some training in police departments, and I'm the only black person for miles to go in there and talk about cultural diversity. I stopped doing that term. And people say, well, why did you change it? I said, because everybody cannot be culturally diverse. You know, I go to Utah, like what's happening today. If you look at that audience, you know, you might see one or two black people. But if you call me in to come and do a cultural diversity presentation, I make it cultural awareness, because no matter what you do, even though you might not, by circumstances or longevity, be able to hire people of color, because some departments are just hiring their first woman. But you're trying to hire people of color, you're not going to be able to do that for a few years. However, you still could be culturally aware because of all the people that come through your community. This is at a university. You got to believe there's some diversity at that university. Even at BYU, Brigham Young University, there's some diversity. You know, there's some people of color. And so your learning curve, white folks, has to include the fact that you don't have to like me, because when I do my introduction, there's nothing about me you have to like. My sexual preference, my origin, my color, or anything. However, let's find something in common, or the commonality, that we can move forward. When I used to work on jobs, I used to say, what's in common? That paycheck. The county never missed the 15th or the 30th. So, you know, and so if you don't think of anything else, I don't care if you go home and you put on a pink tutu and hang from a chandelier. If that's your passion, fine.
Right.
But when you come and discriminate, or you do something against me, then what you've done is you've isolated yourself into a category where you don't deserve any greatness to you. You deserve ridicule. I'm not going to be violent, but I'm not going to let you put your violence on me. And that's what we need to understand.
Lorenzo, why do you think that it takes so hard for certain people to find commonality amongst each other?
Well, because we go on to our own selfish needs. You know, it's like I tell people all the time, Chris Bass, you could tell your story. Now, some people, because of your history, will say, "Why is Bass always bragging?" But it's not bragging; you're telling the truth. However, I need to tell Bass's story, because I'm going to tell the story in such a way that people are going to respect and understand it, and they don't have to worry about whether they think you're bragging or not. It's the truth I'm telling. So if they challenge me, I'll say, whoa. That's not something I read. It's something I lived. It's something I experienced. It's something I know. So I don't need to tell you what the great things that have happened to me. I've been blessed in my life. And I never, ever diminish the fact that I've been blessed.
Right.
And I'll share it if you ask me. But I don't need to go around telling people what I do and who I know and where I've been. That's not my job to do. But if you're in need and there's something I could do for you, I don't need a quid pro quo. I don't need a this or that. I need to do it because it helps Bass. I need to do it because it helps the Bass community. I need to do it because it helps my community. And I don't need anything for it, because you know why? I truly, truly believe that your blessings flow based on what you do and how you give. I really believe that.
I believe that as well. I really do.
And that's where we have to take our belief system back to. Be less selfish and less aggrandizing, and figure out how can I help. And here's the other thing that's really key. Some of the fights that I have taken on in my life, I've not benefited from them. When I sued the Big Ten for discrimination when I was a referee, I knew full well that I would not referee again. But shortly after that, they started hiring more blacks in the Big Ten as referees. They even started the Big Ten was the first conference or first major football program that had a black man as a white hat or a referee. But but there was a unwritten rule that if you officiated football and basketball, that the lead official would not necessarily be a black guy, but and the umpire, which is a position I work, would not be a black guy, and the back judge, because they call those the thinking men's position.
Right.
My good friend Danny Crawford just got inducted to
I caught that. Congratulations to Danny. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Basketball Hall of Fame. One of the greatest officials you ever want to meet. My brother, my friend. Just like a brother to me. But his role wasn't easy for him to get there. But I have to get see, when people talk about the NBA, they've made more millionaires than any other sport. However, they have black, more black millionaires, more black ball players. But the thing that always makes my heart, the Big Ten, NBA was the first place that had 3 African American men work a championship game. That was unheard of. Now, when I went into the Big Ten, I was in my 40s. There were some guys who went in there in their 20s and 30s. Right. And people saying, well, why should he have gone there? Well, I worked my way. I used to go to Joliet. I used to go out to South Suburbs and work bitty basketball, bitty football. And I worked my way up to high school, then to junior college. I never did want to go pro. I just always liked the college. But then, but they look at you differently. We had technical advisors who would review our performance. Every game I had was on TV. But yet, because of my mouth and because of my pushback, no, seriously, they wrote about it in Referee Magazine. I was honored to be honored with that article in there. But because of my remonstrative soul and my pushback, they were uncomfortable because I could not sit there. See, when you go into some circumstances, just like law enforcement that I've been in for 30 years, people want to make racial jokes, and I don't play that game. Right. I was at University of Notre Dame, and we worked with a split crew. Half the crew was from the East Coast, and the other half was from the Big Ten. And this guy looked at me, and I'm the only black guy in the locker room. He says, "You mind if I tell a joke?" Well, it don't take rocket science or Bill to fall on my head where he was going. So I said to him, if it's racial in nature, don't tell it. The guy said to me, I have a right to tell my joke. And I said, you absolutely do. I said, but here's the thing. I said, I'm going to be visiting Coach Lou Holtz and Coach Carrillo in a few minutes. And you can tell your joke after we be in the referee leave, because we had to go do the visit and check the equipment and stuff like that. Yeah. He said, but what if I want to tell my joke? And so I said, well, if you can live the rest of this year with no teeth, then go ahead and tell it. My guys, who were white guys, who looked at him and said, I think you shouldn't tell that joke. Right. Notre Dame is playing Purdue. So it's a TV game. First commercial, the referee, who was from the East Coast, he said, man, you're a pretty good official. I said, well, thank you. He said, did that bother you in the locker room? I said, no. I said, I came for one purpose. I came here to work this game and do it in such a way that the fans can enjoy it, the coaches can coach it, and the players can play it. That's my goal. And he says, well, he didn't say I'm right for that. He says, but how could you do that? I said, because I realized that the joke that he will tell today will be about Mexicans, wetbacks, women, or whatever negative he's got in his mind, that when he gets back to New Jersey, it's going to be about niggas. Yeah. And he said, wow. I said, no, I said, that's a reality. So that's why I don't do racial jokes. I don't, I might do something that's amusing and talk about, how people do things. If I talk about the community and stuff like that. Right. But sometimes if people really look at it and take the racial connotation out of something, they will find the mutuality that as I grew up, some little Irish boy grew up that way. Some little Jewish boy grew up that way. Mm-hmm. Some of the same things. And, if you had one of them kind of mothers, those mothers across the board. There was nothing different in a black mother than a Jewish mother when it came to discipline, or telling you, did not tell you go to bed, did not tell you to come in, did not tell you to eat your food, did not tell you to clean your room. Those things are universal. So that's why we have to, and then we have to respect each other better. Yes. You will never, ever hear me call you nigga. Right. You would never ever hear me call a woman a bitch. Excuse my language.
That's all right. Go ahead.
You know what I'm saying? So my thing is that when people sit up and talk about, I don't watch music. When people come bring a comment to me, I block them. That if see, I don't have a problem with you disagreeing with me. Yeah. I don't have a problem with you having some slight of vitriolic comments.
Mm-hmm.
But when you start cursing, when you start calling women out of their names, when you start calling me inhuman names, then that's where I draw the line. Because I don't have to have a dialogue with you, because you're being unreasonable, and I don't argue with a fool. Because no matter how intelligent or how many points you get in, when you argue with a fool, you look even more foolish. You can't ever look good arguing with a fool.
How many years were you a referee for games at the Big Ten?
I was in the Big Ten for 7 years.
7 years, okay. So
7 years.
When did you come to the conclusion that? I'm sorry. Go ahead. Please continue. Go ahead.
And before that, I was in the Gateway, which became the Missouri Valley. But that was the Gateway was a women's conference, and they took on football. So that was like Indiana State,
right.
University of Northern Iowa, Southwest Missouri State, which has changed its names, Indiana State, and schools like that. And then I did the junior college circuit. I did basketball and football until I got into college ball, and then I just strictly stuck with football. Your question was?
I know you're a busy brother, and I always appreciate your wisdom and when you have time to call in. Will you have time in the future to come back as a guest to talk about your time as a referee?
Oh, absolutely, no doubt about it. Matter of fact, I'll even do it. I'll do it on StreamYard, and you can even have my warm and beautiful face on screen. Listen.
Yes.
I got to give myself one plug,
Yeah, go ahead. Hey, man, look, I ain't mad at you. Shoot, man, I ain't mad at you a bit. No, go right ahead.
And I owe you a book, so we need to talk about that so I can make sure I get.
Oh, so you owe me a book and a baseball bat.
Listen, every time, and I was just in Louisville this weekend. So trust me, before Christmas of this year, you will have your base 333. I know it's exclamation.
Right.
You think I forgot, did you?
No, you didn't. You didn't forget.
I see. But honestly, each time I go down there, I said I got to get it, and I guarantee you, if before Thanksgiving, this is a promise. Before Thanksgiving, even if I have to call my sister-in-law down there, say, go pick this bat up for me and ship it to me or ship it to you, it's going to be done before Thanksgiving. So we only talked about 30, 45 days or so.
Okay.
So I got you faded, brother.
All right. I love you more, man.
Love you, brother. And I love all the people who listen in and make comments, or as well as just giving me a shout out. Trust me, folks, you are listening and chiming in. I respect you. Love you, brother. Talk to you soon.
Love you more. Take care, Lorenzo. The great Lorenzo Clemens. And I've had him on the guest as before, but he just mentioned about his time being a referee. And so we're going to have him back on and recap his tales and his life as a referee for the Big Ten Conference and beyond. So even before that with Missouri Valley and everything else. And again, refereeing for 7 years. I mean, that's some time put in. And not only that, you look at, once again, as he said before, about not too many black referees were out during that time. He mentioned about a name, Danny Crawford. For those who watched the NBA for years, like myself, Danny Crawford, great NBA referee. There's a couple referees I really did not like. I won't even name their names to not tarnish the mic here. But Danny Crawford is always a stand-up guy, and he's from Chicago. And as Lorenzo just mentioned about him being a good friend, I believe he's from Chicago. Let me go back and check that. But I believe from here, and got inducted into the Hall of Fame this year as, of course, NBA referee. Shout out to Danny Crawford for putting enough years into it and getting the Hall of Fame jacket, the Basketball Hall of Fame. Very cool indeed. See, back to the comment section. This was Sick had typed earlier. Imagine the photo op at Kirk's funeral, going back to Charlie Kirk, who was killed in a public speaking there in Utah. Both sides will make political hay of the matter even then. Oh yes, look, they're ramping up probably already as we speak, and tight. because once the show is over with, when I sign off, I'm gonna go check out the news and get the latest on Charlie Kirk and uh, what's going to happen in the future from the standpoint of the investigation. Once again, the shooter is still at large, and where we go from here. So, yeah, it's just sad. And once again, some people just cannot separate their political leanings. But as Sick just type, both sides will, benefit from it. But I think again, when you throw in someone who obviously was just controversial, did not deserve to die, and yeah, people on either side blaming the other person, we don't know. Again, once the shooter is found, then we'll know. But to put it out there, and again, like I said before, it never fails. You always have copycats. It just gets more sick than what it is now. It's just sick to your stomach. How you doing, Enema? Enema, of course, she is the official chef. Her and her brother Mark, the official chefs of this program and Baseline as well. So whatever program she'll come through and give us the menu, which she already has. Let's see. This afternoon, Chris Base and Base Nation. Thank you, Ann. Okay, right. Danny Crawford Krieger, high school, Northeastern Illinois University. He is a West Sider. All right. There you go. Thank you, Lorenzo. I thought he was from here. Dinner menu: homemade cheeseburgers with grilled onions and homemade potatoes with gravy. Drink homemade pink lemonade, again for the cheap seats. Dinner menu for tonight: homemade cheeseburgers with grilled onions and homemade potatoes with gravy. Drink homemade pink lemonade. Sometimes when I would go to certain diners, they would have, say, for example, a cheeseburger deluxe. A cheeseburger deluxe, you can substitute the fries with mashed potatoes and gravy. And the older I got, I'm like, okay, let me try out this mashed potatoes and gravy. I remember getting that as a kid because sometimes if we didn't have fries, we would have mashed potatoes and gravy. So I was having a call back to when I was a kid. I went to this diner when I was, I don't know, in my 40s, something like that, and got that. Oh man, you could tell me I was dipping the cheeseburger in the gravy. Yes, it was my back got fatter. My back started to spread. But no, good eating. No, good eating. And nothing wrong with that. Let's get sidetracked a little bit. What we're talking about here. But once again, thank you, Ann, and of course, our brother Mark for being the official chefs of Baseline and other programs that I do when they bring on forth the dinner menu. And going back to what Lorenzo was saying, that I think, and I agree, people want to be guarded. They don't want their hearts to be broken. They put something around themselves like bubble wrap and don't want to share who they are. They have every right not to. Okay, we got that part. But from the standpoint of others who do not mind wanting to get to know people different from them, dare I say, even breaking bread with them, it definitely goes a long way. And again, you'll find out that you have more in common than not. And the lines that divide kind of come closer together in time. Let's see here. Omar, every time I go to a diner, I always have corned beef sandwich with wheat bread and mayonnaise and mustard and fries, and coleslaw and ice cold lemonade. That's good eating. That's how you do it. So you have to take things with a grain of salt. You have to look at it in stride. And sometimes nonsense was not meant to be sensible. What I mean by that is if you can't understand it, it wasn't meant for you to understand. And that's okay. That's fine. It's not the end of the world. But I think the world right now, living in the state of play that we are in right now, I think we had to get a really good look. And again, Charlie Cook didn't know him from a can of paint until the news broke. Falling into real time when he got shot, unfortunately, and then when he was pronounced dead. And again, someone who is losing someone who now, meaning his wife and children, don't have a husband or a father. And it's just, and I break it down to that. Once again, political crap, I ain't talking about that right now. Just the humanistic part of the whole thing. What's up, Lydell? Says the baseman. Happy birthday again, bro. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, my birthday was last week, September 4th. And it was a great time indeed. So, 5'8", as I had typed on my Facebook page last week, and people responded in kind. And I think the last time I counted was over 500 people from social media. It was it's extremely humbling. That has always made me happy when I see the people that respond for the birthday stuff. And not only that, I mean, it's the fact that it's like, man, I haven't talked to that person in years, or I haven't, and I forgot. Sometimes you know people. Oh, I remember him now, and things like that. So yeah, it starts to go back in the synapses of your mind about how many people you actually know in life outside of Facebook, people that you just know from social media, but in real, like real life is concerned. Let's see. Let's see. Chris, you got everything you wanted on your birthday, and what cake you had and ice cream you had. Okay, so I got a cake in a box, which is by Baskin Robbins. So Baskin Robbins has a cake in the box, and they have, of course, different flavors. They have I got a cookies and cream box cake. It's about not that big. It's about like that, because sometimes you get birthday cake and it's all big, and then you eat it and nobody else in the house wants to eat it and you waste it. So I figured if I get something small or compact, it will be gone in a certain amount of time. I want to waste any food. So I got that, and so it's a Oreo cookies and cream cake, from bottom to top, devil's food cake, ice cream, the frosting, of course, around the cake, and on top was fudge, cookie dough pieces, and Oreo cookie pieces on top. Great cake. Great cake. It was fantastic. Which it was a strawberry. You know what? It was not Jed, but back in the day, I used to get strawberry cakes. But this time, I said it was a cake in the box from Baskin Robbins. Oreo cookies and cream. They also have, I believe, like an M&M's version too. But yeah, that was the one. You can freeze cake. Yeah, I know that. I didn't want to go to waste because I've had cake before, and you ask everybody around the house, "You want some birthday cake?" No, no, I'm full. And then you eat it, but still you want to share it. I'm a giving person. People say sharing is caring. I share, but I didn't want to waste any money, so that's why I got the small box cake in the box, which I highly recommend. If you don't eat a lot, or you're around family and friends that want to take one slice and that's it, yeah. Because the rest I shared it with my niece and nephew. So Mama, who's 4, and Caleb, who's 14, I give him the bigger piece because he's big. For some reason, my niece Mawa does not think she's 4 years old. She does not. I don't know how old she thinks she is, but she don't think she's 4. So they were getting some cake last week. I also have cupcakes. So they're eating the cupcakes. I gave Caleb some cake, and he was asking for because he likes the cake and everything else, and so he was asking for a couple of pieces here and there. So we did that, and I told him, I said, this time was a couple of times. The first time I gave him a big piece and share this with your sister, which he did. The second piece, I said, this piece belongs to you, not her, not your sister, but you. I gave Mawa some cupcakes so that way she can get her sugar high. She can be high as a motherfucker. But as far as my nephew, yeah, this belongs to you. Let's see. What's it? Blasphemy. This is how mom talks. Freezing cake never lasts that long. Going back to what Barbara Jean had typed about freezing cake. Let's see. I purchased cake slices and freeze them. Barbara Jean types. I purchased Pookie's cake. Okay, I remember freeze them and give to family members. All right. I heard about Pookie's cake. I see it online. With the big pink advertisement and things like that. People swear by it. Pookie's cake here in Chicago. People swear by it. Every time I see the viral video, people almost lose their skulls over some Pookie's cake. But yeah, the freezing cake, I never only because of the fact that I have a cake in the box, which of course you put in the freezer. That's different with the ice cream and everything else. But a cake, like a cake by itself, I never done that. Same thing with what was that? Amaze slices and cupcakes. Okay. Yes, I don't put it in the freezer. Traditionally, if I had like a birthday cake, I would just put it in the refrigerator. I wouldn't put it in the freezer. But because this cake has ice cream on it, of course it goes in the freezer. I think I have one slice left. Last I checked, I got like Caleb have the second slice. I think I got one slice left, and I'll be good. But there you go. Yeah, man, it was nice. It was all right. So yeah, going back to the whole cake thing. So yeah, like I said before, traditionally over the years, I mean, way when I was a kid, strawberry cakes and changed over the years. But yeah, that cake in the box from Baskin Robbins, yes, yeah, it's a good deal. Good deal. You would put like chocolate, fudge, Oreo cookies and cream. Yeah, good stuff. I don't have any cake in my freezer right now, Barbara Jean type. Well, that's good. Ooh, wee. All right, so we're about to part company. And again, thoughts and prayers to Charlie Cook's family, to his friends, especially his wife and sons, children. This just breaks your heart. It does. So we continue to watch this story when you join me on Friday for Baseline, same time, 4 p.m., 5 p.m. East Coast, 2 p.m. on the West Coast, as we go through the day's topics and news and commentary. I don't take you for granted. I thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule to be here, whether it's here or the other programs I've done over the years. Thank you. Um, I wanted you to know that because I think certain people would just say, "Well, it's an audience, and that's it," depending on who the host is. No, 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 no. It's not like that at all. You know what side your bread is buttered on. And to have a show like this, yeah, I can sit here and talk about myself and everything, but yeah, that'll be, okay, we have to take him to the take him to the home. He's finally lost it. Just a matter of time. But no, in serious real talk, I I I appreciate the time you put into being here. 'Cause you don't have to do it, but you have, and that means the world to me. So thank you as always for that. I want to make sure I say that from time to time because without you being there, I would not be here. I love you more. Coolest people in the room, always to me. All right, so I will see you on Friday. Good Lord willing, creek don't rise. Continue to be safe. Continue to be sound. Continue to be healthy. And most importantly, above anything else, continue to be loved. Long live the peace. Long live the funk. More power to you. And always imparting with all of you. Always keep your head up.